limits of my language are the limits of my world. Ludwig Wittgenstein. I got interested in deaf ministries years ago at my church and now studying speech pathology with hopes to work at a trauma center. I hope to bring an understanding of American Sign Language with the points on history, different types, and conversation topics. Aristotle was the first to have a claim record about the deaf. His theory was that people can only learn through hearing spoken word. Therefore, the deaf were seen to be uneducated and unintelligent. Therefore, they were denied all basic human rights. Organized deaf education was non-existent until around 1750, when started by a French Catholic priest. In 1771, Abbé Charles Michel de Lepi, I hope I said that right, opened the first free public school for deaf. We now call it the National Institute for Deaf and Mutes. This is in France. Okay, so 2 to 4 of every 1,000 people in the United States are functionally deaf, which means they can hear a little bit, but not everything. It is more common to get deaf later in life, where only 1 in 1,000 people are deaf before 18 years old. 37 to 140 people out of 1,000 people have any type of issues hearing. People including deaf people and have a severe hearing impairment. Deafness is growing up with an increased rate to need translators and interpreters. An interpreter's job goes up 29% nationally to a now in 2024, which is much faster than the national average for other jobs. There are 3 different types of American Sign Language. There is ASL, American Sign Language, PSE, or Pidgin Sign Language, and SEE, which is Signed Exact English. American Sign Language promotes assimilation in the deaf community. It's used mostly between deaf person and another deaf person. It's kind of like in Spanish, they don't use the same word order we do. And so for Pidgin Sign Language, this is most common between a deaf person and a hearing person. It uses the ways of the English language, like how we say the red fish. In Spanish, you might say the fish red. PSE uses the exact way we speak. It uses the vocab from American Sign Language, but our order. It means a signer can easily sign when speaking because it is possible to keep pace with the spoken word. While it is easier, it does not have exact English endings. The last type is Signed Exact English. Exact English words with exact prefixes, suffixes, and tenses are used. It's the clearest presentation of the English language. Because it is exact English, there's a broader vocabulary. In American Sign Language, you would just say pretty, or you can say beautiful. But in Signed Exact English, you can have a broader vocabulary by describing something. You could say, like, the brown podium is magnificent, instead of saying the brown podium is pretty. Signed Exact English uses the maximum use of residual hearing in speech reading, and it encourages people to sign who still have a little bit of hearing. Okay, so now I'm going to show how to sign a couple things. To say hi, it's kind of like a salute. You hold your hand at your forehead, and you just go out. Alright, there are a couple ways to say how are you. I've seen the most common is to go, you cup your hands like this. It's I don't know how to explain it, but it's a cup. You say, how, and you just point, are you? Right? But you could also have 2 fists, and you're going to turn them. So your left one is going to go towards you, and your right goes away. And you're going to point and say, how are you? So it's just a turning and a point. How are you? To say good, you take your hand from your chin, and you put it in your other hand. That is just the opposite. You take your hand in your chin, and you're going to flip it, so it's almost like a clap. Okay, another thing you'd probably say is, what's up? So what you're going to do is you're going to take your 2 middle fingers and you turn them in like this. You bend them, and you just flick them from your chest and say, what's up? But you have to, sign language really bases off your facial expressions because they can't hear, they can't see that it's a question. So you kind of have to like lean in and act like you're interested. Okay? When you're talking to a deaf person, you're going to want to know their name. And so what you can say is you're just going to say point your, and then you take your 2 index fingers and you're going to double tap your name. We don't have a sign language, you don't say is. So you just say your name, and then you just say, okay, they're going to sign their name. Then you say my, and then you're going to say double tap, and then for me it would be S-A-R-A-H. Some people use a double letter, and so like say the name Emma, you would use E-M-M-A. It's called a glide, and it symbolizes a double. To say other common things like please, thank you, and sorry. So for please, you're just going to take a flat hand and you're going to rub across your chest in a circle. Thank you is kind of like good. You're just going to go from your chin and down. Thank you. And to say sorry, it's just like please, but with a closed fist, and you're going to go over your heart in a circle. Bye, you just hold your hand up, and you wave. Bye. In closing, even though American Sign Language is not spoken words, it's another type of expressive language. Knowing the basics of American Sign Language is broadening language barriers. To review the points, there was history, the types of sign language, and conversation topics. But we take for granted the hearing and speaking in our own conversations, but there is a language with no noise at all. Thank you for listening.
And pan.